What's up, world, and welcome back to the Global Frequency. I am Nefarious.
And I'm Frequency Girl.
And today, at an earlier time, we have a special guest for you. Dave Brink from Genuine Comics, here to tell us all about his current crowdfunding campaign, Perfect 10, issue number 3, available over on Indiegogo. What is up, Dave? How you doing?
Hi, guys. Hello.
So glad to have you with us.
Yeah. Sorry to mess with your schedule.
Oh, don't worry about it. Our viewers have no idea what's going on.
Okay. Cool.
Let's say
Thanks
hello
for having me, guys.
quick.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem.
Thanks for coming.
Let's say hello real quick to the chat. We have got the one and only Mo Biggs, the internet entity himself. We have got Alejandro VS. Guys, check out Ale's channel, steadily growing. He's got some really exciting guests coming up, so I've heard. I can't spoil who they are. He would beat me with a stick. But yeah, Tuesdays. Check in on what's going on his channel on Tuesdays. We also got Kumari from Dragon Multimedia. We've got Will from the Creators Outlet. Thank you so much for hanging out. Why not always this time? It works better for me.
Oh,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like, just change it. Just make it a permanent change, just right? We were actually talking about that today in one of the chats. We were saying what we really need is kind of like a schedule thing. I know Michael Bancroft just put up a release schedule calendar. Amanda B kind of started making this thing, scheduling the dates when everyone was releasing, so that she could plan out who was doing what when, so she knew what the backings were. And it was like, that's a brilliant idea. We just need one of those forever for everyone to be able to go like, oh, so and so is launching at this date. I kind of want to launch in here, and figure out how to work together, like everyone's always saying community, right? I call it a network, but making it more of a community. We need a TV schedule for everybody's streams. I know there have been several attempts at making like a guide, like a CG guide and stuff.
Yeah, Brian Menard has a guide.
Yeah,
right?
he's got one. He's got one going. Let's stick it over on the CG Now website so that everyone knows, what's what and who's doing what when.
Yeah,
updated because there are a bunch of new shows that have come out.
Bunch of new shows, yeah, and then the shows change all the time. Like sometimes channels get deleted, and sometimes new shows come out of nowhere. I don't know. It's all very chaotic. Someone needs to keep a handle on it, right?
Yeah.
We've got Sinopa Sam, William S. Quinton from Sinopa Publishing in the chat. I just checked out Reign of Ages, guys. We were just reading it this morning. Dude, that is a book. We should talk about it. We got Marvin Wynn coming and hanging out with us.
Hey, Marvin.
Infinity says community. No. It's community. You gotta get it right. No, it's okay. We'll figure it out. Anyway, Dave, you have been on the channel before, but I don't know if everybody remembers the last time you were here.
10 months ago.
10 months.
Oh, really? 10 months
We've
ago.
been doing this for that long?
We've been doing it for just over a year now. Cobalt was actually Jake Adams with his Cobalt number 1 was our very first chill show. Before that, we had just us rambling, and we had Jake Twister on once to talk about wonton soup.
So you're saying that we've been shilling books for over a year?
For just about a year now.
We've got no life. So I already know all about you. My spies have a dossier. They've compiled it right here.
Oh.
I've got it right here. But I gotta ask the questions so that we can.
Did you say hi to Aria Blackness?
I did not. What's up, Aria Blackness?
Hey,
Aria
Aria.
Blackness. Is Tailless still in demand? I don't remember. Did you close out Tailless? I'm going to ask you like you're right there, and you're not. You can't actually answer me. But throw it in the chat anyway. We'll see if we can't drop that link. We've got Travis. Gibb. What are you doing on at 4 p.m.?
We're on at 4 p.m. That's crazy. We are crazy today.
Now, Dave, where are you from?
I'm from the Netherlands.
That's why we're on at 4 p.m., Travis.
Yes.
Just to make it a little bit more sensible. If we did it at our regular time, it would be like 1 a.m. for Dave. And I know it's a Friday, but 1 a.m. is still late for guys like me. I like to go to sleep at like,
Dude, I'm setting an alarm so I can be up for Bancroft tonight. Okay?
It is Bancroft's 500th show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are setting an alarm
I'm
to
setting
wake
an alarm
up
to make
for
sure
Bancroft.
that I'm up for Bancroft.
Is it really not 499?
Is it 499? I thought it was 500.
Okay.
Oh, in that case, do I set it for tomorrow?
Right. We'll double check. If we don't need to be awake, let's just go back to sleep. Yeah. But
that is my philosophy. If I don't need to be awake, I'll just go back to sleep.
If the earlier time works for people, we can probably adjust our schedule because we don't do anything. We
don't do anything.
Do a comic book
at
company,
all.
that's all.
Nothing.
Just nothing.
No. Maybe that's what you do.
Yeah. So you're from the Netherlands.
Yes, sir.
What's that like?
Pretty much the same, only different. So I don't know, man.
If that's a real place, I thought the Netherlands was like.
It's a real place. Yeah. It's it actually exists. We don't walk around with clogs all day, but we do like tulips. So some of the myths are true.
Some of it's true.
Yeah.
And when did you first get into comics? You've got a pretty prolific profile. So where did that fascination with comic books come from? When did you start
reading comics? That was I was very young. Reading comics. My first, I read European comics like Asterix. You know Asterix?
And Obelix. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
right.
you read the Belgian stuff. You read the Belgian stuff,
yes,
right? Yeah,
exactly.
Good stuff, man. Like, do you read Tintin and other things like that? Those are kind of in the same school of art,
yes,
right?
Tintin, and so I kind of grew up with that. And my first exposure to superhero comics was with a crossover between Superman and Spider-Man. It was a special edition. It was large size, and I saw that, and I was like, "Wow, these characters look awesome." I never heard of them before, and I read that book, and I was hooked, man. I wanted more.
It's got to be very different coming from Asterix and Obelix, and then being exposed to. I remember going the opposite direction. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I read Spider-Man and Superman, and then I read Asterisk and Obelix, and I was like, dude. Yes. How's a little guy with a big mustache and wings on his helmet such a badass? It was fun. It was a different style too. The art's different. The format is much more. It's much more focused on clarity, not nearly as much intensity, not as many popping panels or people bursting through panel borders or different sized panels. Belgian comics and American comics very different, but synthesizing the two is a.
And it doesn't have the monthly formula, right? So So it's once a year you get this new album. They call this albums here, and so but the superhero stuff, that was what really drew me into comics. I wanted to know more about these characters, and it took me a few months before I learned that Superman and Spider-Man didn't exist in the same universe. So that was kind of disappointing, but and slowly I began to read more, and we had this little company in the Netherlands that translated Marvel and DC comics to Dutch, like the staple books, like Fantastic Four, of course Batman, so the bigger titles. So I grew up with those basically. And then later on, I began to expand to see what was beyond what the Dutch publisher presented. And so I began to read English language comics imported. So, yeah.
I mean, your style, or at least the style that you have, POW drawing, is very 90s influenced. Like I can feel a lot of the Image Comics era stuff in there. Was that is that like a preferred style of art for you? And if so, like obviously, it's 90s comics. When did you get into those style comics? Right around the time when they were coming out? Did you get into them later?
Yeah, a little bit later, I was in school, and we started. This was a school for advertisement. So many creative people came there, um, and I saw Image Comics while I was there, and I was like, why not try something like that? So I found a few like-minded people who loved comic books and wanted to make comic books. I could draw a little bit, and I was like, we can try this, So we produced a few comic books inspired by Image Comics, and we called our little group Genuine Comics. And we made a few comics, all Dutch language, and we sold some at conventions, but it was pretty amateurish. Um,
Pretty amateurish. Okay, that's what it
yeah,
says. Did you revisit those and then redo them into the
no,
genuine comics that we know today?
no, I rather forget them. But there are some concepts from back then that I still use today, and concepts that I had back then that never came to fruition that I can tell now. Like Perfect 10, for instance, is one of those ideas I had back in the 90s, and now it was the time to go tell it. I haven't made comics. Uh, when I stopped making comics back in high school, because I had to grow up, I had to live life, I had to work, So life happened, and then in 2014 I began making comics again, and this time I thought, why not uh, do it better, do it globally this time, and you had Kickstarter, so I was like, let's make this happen. Let's try it, and well, we're now like, what is it? We're now 12 books later. So yeah.
Let me say hello again to people who have filtered in while we've been hanging out. We got Shadow Punk up in the chat,
Hey,
as
Shadow
well as Lord Crackhead up in the chat, smoking crack every day. Bow.
You forgot Ollie.
I was getting to Ollie, saving him for last because that was the last name that I saw. I
no,
don't
we
think we've got
haven't.
anyone else. You just got people chatting. So as far as like you said,
No, we have Mrs. Good Stuff.
hey, Mrs. Good
Say,
Stuff,
like, I know
welcome,
someone else
welcome.
came
So
in.
you were just saying you've got 12 books so far that have been kind of put through crowdfunding and released into the general populace. That would be Dream Girl. Dream Girl's one of
Yes.
those. Okay. And Ajax. We got Ajax as one of them too.
Yes.
And we got 4 issues of Earthling, right?
Yeah, you got the complete package, man.
And then we got Perfect 10, 1 and 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Power Trip.
Yes.
Right. And then you put out this interesting art book called Heroes and Villains, which is just a
Yeah.
bunch of collected art. I can kind of see what you were saying earlier about some of the drawings in here, maybe better left not spoken of, because art is art, right? It's not everything's for everybody. I didn't use it in the thumbnail, don't worry. But that's not 12, is it? Did I count 12? I don't think I counted 12. What don't I have?
Well, we have 3 new books coming up. So we have Perfect 10 right now, and then the
American Bliss
is coming up, and American Bliss is coming up. Yeah.
So if I pay attention to Genuine Comics, you'll let me know when these crowdfunding campaigns are going to be coming along, and I can just go snag those books off the
yeah,
off the
of course.
Are you going to be releasing any of these on your website at any time?
Yeah, the plan is that everything everything goes on crowdfunding campaigns first, because we need to fund them and produce them, and then 1 year after the campaign ends, they move over to the web store.
Infinity Comics asks me to ask this very serious question. Dave, serious question. Are you ever afraid that people will think you can't write as well because English isn't your mother tongue? I ask because that's a little bit of a fear of mine. And
scroll down.
Scrolling more.
By the way,
we can write better than English mother tongue people could. Okay. Well, I mean, that's debatable. But the first part, are you ever concerned that people will think you can't write as well in English because it's not your native language?
No, I've never had that people ask me that. When I speak English, it's a bit clunky sometimes because I have to translate in my head. But when I write, I can take my time and I can formulate the sentences like I want to. So my writing English is much better than my speaking English.
And I will attest to his writing English being top notch. We're gonna have to talk about the books in a second themselves. I just want to blow through some of your history, but
we also have a question from Mo Biggs.
Oh, we have a question from Mo Biggs. Well, by all means, that takes precedence. I don't know. You're gonna have to find it.
Neff will ask this dude about Asterisk, but does he have the gall to dig into his education regarding sequential storytelling?
That's part of the.
I would be remiss
All right,
if
Dave.
I didn't.
All right, Dave. This is probably the most important question I have for you on this show. Do you have any formal education in storytelling through sequential art?
No.
Once again.
Sorry, man.
Once again, striking out. That's okay.
Most people don't.
Most people don't. Most people are self-taught. And on that note, you know what? Like, we should just throw that stuff out of the way. On that note, you are highly adept at storytelling through sequential art.
Oh, thanks.
Perfect 10 is an excellent book. Issue 2 was just, it was so well structured. Issue 1 was enjoyable. I loved it. I got into it. I was having a great time with it. But issue 2, there's actual artistry in the storytelling. You know what I mean? Like there's, you do a recap here, in 2 panels on page 3, I think, right in the middle of the page. These 2 panels, and you basically catch us all up on everything that happened in issue 1 without it feeling too expositional. You know,
Right.
It's part of their conversation, and you weave in everything that happened in dialogue bubbles that are not overly large. They don't overpower the art. There is not more white dialogue bubble than art, making it feel unbalanced. And these 2 characters deliver this exposition, you know, point, counterpoint, and then like underneath it, it's point, counterpoint, leading into the rest of the conversation on the page turn. How did you figure out structure like that? How did you learn dialogue like that? What did you draw on to teach yourself how to write these books?
I think I just learned it by studying the comics that I liked. I wanted to learn how to write. First, I wanted to be an artist, and then I wanted to write because other people could not write the stories that were in my head. So I had to learn the craft. So I studied the comics that I liked. What makes this comic so good? What works for me? And so like Robert Kirkman with Invincible is a huge inspiration, but also shows like Breaking Bad. I watched that.
So you learned pacing from TV. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
I watched that a few times to really study it. So every scene matters. And that's, I think I learned from that to layer scenes. So every scene has multiple layers. You have to use the room that you have as effective as possible. And you can do that
real estate.
through dialogue, but also through actions and other means.
When I say that it's like one of the better constructed books, I'm not like blowing smoke up your butt. I've read your other stuff. I've read Earthman, 1 through 4. I read your stuff. I am a huge fan of Perfect 10, and I can tell after reading Power Trip that American Bliss is going to be a blast to read. That character is so much fun, so dynamically drawn. It got a great personality. It seems like we're primed right now for a character like that. I'm a huge fan of 10 because I'm a huge fan of like sci-fi and androids and robots and high-tech stuff in general. And I love superheroes too. But like you said, the Robert Kirkman element, the Invincible world building, it feels like that's in there. It feels like you do a really good job building your world and layering that in the background behind the story that you're telling. So it doesn't feel like you have to dump the world on us for us to go, okay, that's where we are before you start telling the story. You really just layer it in. And as we go along, we start formulating a question like, wait, what about? And by the time like 2 pages later, you've answered that question. You know, you've managed to like pull us deeper into the setting where I start going, but how does superhero teams? Oh, that's how superhero teams work. Oh, okay, you know, I get it. We got Greg Levitt. Hail, brother. We also got 24 Eyes, who I saw come into the chat earlier. He's surprised at the earlier time as well. But I mean, we've got a pretty good sizable audience, so I think that we're going to stick with it. Aaron likes robots and sci-fi. Shocker.
We also have Neostar Productions Riserman.
We do. I skipped over Riserman, didn't I? What is he saying this time? Brilliant star that shines through the night, the sharp thorn in the side of evil. Riserman stands before you. I don't know if y'all in the chat have noticed, but every time Neostar comes in, Riserman has a new intro. And it's always so amusing to see which one he's pulling out of his hat today and how he's doing it. It's great when you imagine like a superhero character doing that and having his big entrance. Yep. And every single time he's got a different one. It's like, what's your catchphrase, bro? Like all of them.
All of them.
Right. Okay, so let me ask you. You have been published by Antarctic Press in the past. Yes, you wrote for Antarctic Press.
Yes.
So what was that like? How'd you get in? Was it through submissions? How did you wind up working for them?
Ben Dunn was looking for short stories for one of his. He was creating a book wherein the characters from Ninja High School moved through some device into other realities. So they hopped from comic book to comic book universe, and I. What do you call it? I applied a story.
You submitted a story, yeah.
Submitted, right? Sorry, and he thought it was cool. So we made that short story. It's just a short story, and it's published in this thick book with several short stories, right? Anthology with other creators. Yeah.
Right. So what's it like, and how different is it making your own long form comic books rather than having your work published in someone else's book? How is it different?
It wasn't much different really than, for instance, me writing a story for Power Trip, which is our own anthology book. Yep. But basically I have to work with someone else's characters. I have to write someone else's characters. So I need to know the characters. So that was what I had to do, was getting to know the characters first before I could write them. That's the main difference. When I usually write, I know the characters because they're mine. So that was the main difference. But beyond that, there wasn't much difference really.
And have you ever had other people submit stories or characters to your label, Genuine Comics, for you to produce them?
To produce, yes. We're working on a character called Shadow Lion, which is created by Jamie Cardoso. And he basically gave us the character, and he didn't want to produce comics, so we have the rights to the character. And then we have characters like Ajax from the Ajax Awakening book. He's created by Jeremy Scott Browning, and he brought in the character. So we tried to integrate it into the Genuine universe and make everything work. Man Devil isn't mine either. So there are several creators who bring their own characters to this universe.
Are there creators that write characters that you've created, and you sort of edit those stories along the way, and then you wind up publishing the work? Do you have staff writers? You can call them staff writers, but Michael Oden, for instance, he is writing American Bliss right now. He's the writer.
Yeah, he's the writer for the series because he really loved Captain America, and And American Bliss was a character he wanted to write. He told me so he had this little concept for a story, and it was great. So we just decided to make that happen. Yes, there she is.
You mean this character right here?
Yes,
Totally. Like, yeah, I get Captain America vibes off this 100% all day long. That's when I look at Steve Rogers, I think of American Bliss. That's like Odin was like, oh yes, I love Captain America. That's why. No, I'm kidding, of course. I mean, the character is really quite good. I really like the way that you present the character. I like the upfront, the forward and assertiveness without being, pardon my French, without being bitchy, without being entitled or empowered or whatever. She's just effective, and upfront and assertive in a believable and positive way. Like, I say positive, not like in positivity. I mean, like a net positive way.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the third issue of Perfect 10. And it is consistently good. First issue was good. Second issue is even better. How do you manage to put out these comic books when you and your artist are on opposite sides of the planet from each other? How do you communicate, and how much communication is there between the two of you while you're working on this? Do you do layouts together? Like, how do you make it work?
Well, it's fairly easy. Basically, it's just me writing the script. I send it to him through email, and we have almost daily contact through Messenger. We basically become friends through the years, so we talk almost every day, and I tell him my plans for the story, and I get some feedback, and it's really we are really working well together. That's fairly easy. And then he comes back to me with layouts, and we can make some adjustments. I'm like, it's not really what I want. Let's try something else, and together we find the right page. So it's fairly easy.
That's cool.
Pow's awesome.
Yeah, Pow is fantastic. You have a fantastic artist. He's very easy to get along with. He's very receptive.
Yes,
he's a
humble
man.
Yes.
Very professional. I mean, honestly, he's one of the better artists that I've had the pleasure of speaking to. Have you ever wanted to touch his thigh?
No.
Did you think that if the two of you got to like work, what's that? I mean, I might have that.
He usually touches Garrett.
If I ever have the chance to do sequential work with him, maybe. I mean, okay. I have found that touching your artist's thigh while you work in close proximity with them tends to generate better outcome, if only to get you away from them. I guess is that what sexual harassment is?
Might be.
Oh damn! Am I guilty of doing a sexism?
Maybe.
So, why don't you tell us more about the Genuine Comics universe? I've seen Perfect 10 come from you. I know that we've got American Bliss coming. I know that Power Trip was part of the last Perfect 10 campaign. Are you going to be continuing, other series? Are you going to bringing more stuff to Indiegogo?
Oh yeah, definitely. Of course, American Bliss will be on Indiegogo when that's ready. And I think
drat.
But we need to continue with crowdfunding. Yeah, so most new titles will have crowdfunding campaigns, because now we just need to be able to even produce them. And with every campaign, I try to add a second book. We did it with the last one, that was Power Trip, and this time it's Crossworlds, because I do not want to make a new campaign for every new book. It's just exhausting. And I think this is a cool way to offer people more with every new campaign we launch. But yeah,
it's a great idea to introduce those secondary books too, because if you get a positive reception to it, you can spin it off and really make its own campaign, and then introduce yet another book along the side. Like when you do American Bliss, I'm sure you'll have a secondary book to introduce, and if the reception to that one is as positive as the reception to American Bliss, hey, you've got another series on your hands, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Smart way to do it.
I
So in the ever-present wisdom of Kara Nicole, these days, everyone's got a side hustle. Do you work as a full-time comic creator, or is there another way that you get that guap?
Yeah, this is not my official job. I have another job that's because creating comics is basically still it costs me basically the same than it provides. So it's not sustainable on its own. But I have my own job, but I am noticing that the last year, well, things have been growing. That with the new web shop, for instance, that it's beginning to bring in some money. So
we're getting to turn a profit. You're going to go and get into the black instead of in the red. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're figuring that out ourselves. We barely made a margin on the first.
Yeah,
book,
that's very difficult.
We're actually investing more money into the second because I'm doing a more ambitious project rather than just prints and tchotchkes and everything. We're trying to make more meaty content and. Well, I guess we'll figure out what the numbers look like when we figure out what the numbers look like.
The first few years, my girlfriend didn't really appreciate my hobby because it costed too much. But now, this last year, she's kind of behind me. Yeah, let's do another one. Yeah.
Alejandro has another good question. Do you think it's better to release a title beginning to end, volumes 1 through 4, for example, or to present a new title after your first crowdfunder? Do like issue 1 and then a new campaign for a new title. I think that's what he's saying.
Right.
Goof.
Mo Biggs.
God damn.
Typo.
Gouverneur is an example of a title begging to end. Because Ale mispelled it. That was phenomenal.
Very good.
As Bancroft would say, that is phenomenal. No, I think Ali is saying, do you believe it's better to introduce a full book line, issue 1 and then an issue 2 and then an issue 3, or to do issue 1 of 1 and then do issue 1 of 2 and then do issue 1 of 3 and then go back to the first one and do issue 2 of 1 and then issue 2 of 2? Is that kind of? I hope that's what I'm getting.
Yeah, I think you should commit to one series. For instance, Perfect 10 is will be 4 issues, and I wanted to do that campaign after campaign, and we will sneak in the American Bliss campaign, but people know that issue 4 of Perfect 10 will be coming. There's a rhythm now, and so I don't want to move away from that principle. I think it's best to just finish your series and then do the next one.
So I think Infinity, Alejandro is saying basically like Vaughn did. So doing like Monster MD, which is basically 4 issues put together, crowdfunded, and then do 4 issues put together and crowdfunded. So I think like a complete work and then another complete work.
That would be awesome.
But we waited for Monster MD for a while.
Yeah.
So, it depends, Ale, how long you want people waiting and whether or not they're going to start throwing rocks at you.
I think it also depends on the length of the book too. Yeah. Like if you're doing 4 26 to 32 page issues, not 26, but 28 to 32 page issues, then maybe waiting for 4 and doing like a TPB kind of thing might work.
Yeah,
but I feel like if you already have,
if you're doing an omnibus, right? If you're doing an omnibus, then I could get it because you got enough pages there that you can hardback it or whatever. I mean, like if you can grab Monster MD, it's over there somewhere.
Yeah, it was.
It's probably right in there.
Nope, that's
no,
it's right there.
Well, I don't know what you did with it. Under here? Yeah, it's under here. So if you look at Monster MD, right? It is a lengthy enough book. It feels like a real graphic novel, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have done that with Mavericks, but I wanted to break the first one into 2 halves, then do a put together full complete volume, which is going to be super big because of all the additional material. And then I wanted to do a more trade paperback style release. So do you think, like, since you've been doing Perfect 10 and the first Perfect 10 and the second Perfect 10 both saddle stitched, they got the staple in them.
Right.
Would you have preferred to do Perfect 10 1 through 4 as a square bound book? If you had the opportunity to?
Yes, but it's not really, it's very expensive to make a comic book, so if I want to make these 4 issues, these 4 parts, that's like I'm not sure if I can do that financially.
Yeah, it would probably take a while either to like save up and pay for all the art over time,
Yeah, exactly.
so you have it all ready to go, or crowdfund it up front, but then you have to wait for all of those pages to be done before you fulfill.
We don't generally talk about this book on this channel. I read a lot of books, and there are a lot of books that I don't talk about because there's not generally a net positive thing to say about them. But I didn't even think this was a complete book. I thought that this was like a part 1 with a sort of cliffhanger, and only half the book is, story. So I don't know.
If you can do it that way, then please do that. Yeah, that's cool. People like that, complete books instead of the floppies that I do. But it's the formula that works for me financially, because the money that comes in for issue 3, I can invest in issue 4.
Right. I mean, you can keep the rolling budget moving forward.
Yes.
What's up, Pops? How's it going?
See, Pops. I like both, because I like to have the floppies to have them and collect them, and I'll read them for the first time because I want to keep going with the story. But then after I read it once, I put it back in the bag and board, and it goes in my box. I don't touch it again. I wait for the TPB. I get that, and that's what I like when I want to read over and over. That's what I'll read, because then I don't have to worry about.
So Freq Girl is actually a better collector than I am, because she'll stick with something. She'll buy it when it comes out. She'll check for updates on the next thing. She'll buy it when it comes out. She has a pull it. I walk into the store and I go, "Oh, I missed this one. Give me all 16 of these, and where are the 4 that I'm missing? Just order those and send them to me." I'm a terrible collector. I do not have like a disciplined, regimented way of going about collecting a series.
Right.
I'm all over the place. But,
Ollie says to leave Starblades alone.
Oliver
says to Ollie,
leave Starblades alone. Leave it alone. I mean, I gotta say, it was colored pretty well. There were a couple of pages. Garrett and I actually sat down and we did what Garrett does to books to Starblades. We didn't do an episode on it.
No.
But there were a couple of cool panels. I'll say that. Panels. So let's talk more about Perfect 10. The protagonist, reminds me of like a Danger Girl-esque sort of 90s character, but there's definitely more to her than that. What do you want to tell us about the protagonist of the story?
The protagonist herself. Okay,
yeah,
she's a great stand-in for the reader, because she's basically new to this universe. She wakes up in this universe. She doesn't know who she is, and basically all these villains are after her. They want to kill her for things that she did that she can't remember, and that kicks off this adventure where she basically learns that she's not real. She is created to kill these superpowered criminals, but she doesn't want to do that. She's now taken out of this program, and her principle. So her personality is the only thing keeping her from killing people. That's the cool thing. She's created to kill, and she doesn't want to do it because she herself prevents her from doing that. And that's very, very fascinating to me.
That's very cool.
And what about the antagonists in this story? Who are they?
The antagonists are they have different backgrounds, but so you have this world is like the Marvel universe. You have all these characters with superpowers, and most people who get powers will use them for to gain things, to conquer things, to ruin things. for violence. In order to keep them in check, this perfection program was created. And now these villains, they have collected each other in this giant group called the Prime Syndicate. So they are more organized now.
And then I guess the major conflict, besides the 10 and that group versus the antagonists, is there a larger conflict behind I guess like the basic fighting and antagonism? Is there like a global conflict going on?
Yeah, you have you have Division M. That's basically some sort of shield like agency, and they created 10, and so Division M is meant to protect the world from these metanormals, these superpowered influences, and they have to monitor them, and they train people with superpowers to become superheroes. In this world, they call them meta marshals. And then you have the other group that wants to be free, to not be monitored, to do whatever they want, and so these two forces clash, and 10 is right in between there. Yeah.
And so I guess with 10 being caught in the middle, she's fighting for both her survival, picking a side in this war, trying to find out more about her identity. We already know like what her purpose was, but like you said, she's our stand-in as we discover the world, because she knows nothing about it. So eventually, of course, she's probably going to be faced with a choice down the line, which is probably a potential reversal from the one that she's been thrust into, or the one, the world that she knows is going to be challenged by a secret that she was unaware of, even more so than the one that she's just discovered, which is that she's an assassin robot. But I guess what I'm asking then is like, what are the stakes in her primary conflict?
Stakes for her. Yeah, that's difficult for her. She doesn't exist. So her goal right now is to help Virgil. Virgil is her creator, and he's the only connection to the human world that she really has, because she knows his story. She knows why Virgil created her, which was a completely different reason than the Division M had. And Virgil is basically her reason why she wants to do good, why she wants her life to have meaning. So yeah.
All right.
Was that a good answer?
I mean, yeah, that's a believable answer. I mean, obviously the general stakes are survival, right? The people that she cares about, Division M versus these antagonists. By the way, you have got some great antagonists in this book. Your villain, the one that can use her fat. What's her name? I don't remember off the top of my head.
I don't remember.
It's in this one. She has weaponized body fat. What is it? What is it here? Like at that, right?
I know who you're talking about. I just don't. I
don't remember the name. Do you remember the name, Dave? What's the name of this character?
Yeah. Her name is Morbid.
Morbid. You've got some great villains.
Thanks.
Yeah, narrowly lost to Atuma as the favorite villain this year. I was thoroughly.
I think someone else brought that. Oh, no, you just.
No, I was thoroughly impressed by it, because like that is not a power that I would have considered, but at the same time, it is so disgusting that it firmly cements the person kind of as a villain in that regard. Like.
And the thing is, I created Morbid in the 90s, and I'm surprised that no one else thought of this. idea in the last 30
Yeah.
years.
What, weaponized body fat?
Yes.
I mean, like you turned the opposite of body shaming. Like it's important for this character to be fat. Their fat is their superpower. You know,
Yeah.
like that's progressive. That's the progressive stack to the maximum. It is. It's healthy, right? No, not really, but you know what I mean, right? It's you're doing the opposite of fat shaming here. It's like, you know, fat empowerment or something. I don't know.
I'm gonna say bye to.
Okay, bye. He goes,
No.
okay, bye. I've chased him off the stream. So yeah, in Perfect 10 number 2, we have that big fight, right? And then they leave that chick behind. What is Perfect 10 number 3 gonna start with? And you said this is a 4-issue series, right? We're 75% of the way through with issue 3. So there's got to be a pretty big ending in issue 3 to set us up for that final act. What can you tell us to like kind of put us on the hook for it?
Oh yeah, that's always tough. How to tell something without actually telling something? You know, that's.
Dude,
I
I know. Yeah, they encounter more than they bargained for and uncover a dangerous secret. Yeah,
like,
Yeah, well, yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, this issue 3. This is what I can tell. This issue 3 was very difficult for me to write because it's basically a bridge to the last issue, the final issue, which will be the big one, you know. And this bridging issue had some challenges and had to do some concessions with the story. I had to cut out some things that I wanted in, but I think it was all necessary to make it a smooth story that fits well with the previous 2 issues.
I want it now. I want it now.
I want to read it right now.
I want to read it right now. Yeah, you've it's no secret that you have been gaining more attention. I know that like a number of fans have given you awards. You won several fan awards this year.
Yeah.
What is it like to have a popular comic book or a comic book that is becoming one of the more popular series in crowdfunding? Because people have been with you for 3 issues now. And the 3rd issue is just continuing to heat up. You know what I mean? Like it's gaining momentum. I've seen the opposite thing happen to several different series.
All right, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's almost surreal. I started small with the Earthling book. I barely had money, you know. It's and slowly build up, and then issue 1 of Perfect 10 was my first Indiegogo campaign, and it took me like 6 weeks to get halfway funded. So halfway, 6 weeks, and then suddenly in the last 2 weeks, people from CG picked it up, and it began to do something.
They noticed it. It was it hit the radar, and then suddenly it was funded, and then some.
Yeah.
You know how that works? Yeah, it's like, oh hey, look,
and
cool book. Let's buy the cool book.
And then people like it so much. That's astonishing to me. I'm just doing my very best to make the best comic that I can make, and I'm constantly doubting myself. Is this good enough? You know, should it be better? Should it be more original? And then people come back to me with feedback. Man, I loved it so much. Then it just blows me away. You know.
Yeah, you made 8,500 on Perfect 10 number 1, right? And that's a pretty good accomplishment for a first timer who really like didn't have a whole lot of marketing. I don't think you didn't have a whole lot of exposure. I mean, you hadn't paid
Mo yet.
Yeah, you met Mo. So you didn't understand the economics of scale of exposure. But then, of course, you hit your stride. You got 8K, you got funded, and then some. Perfect 10 issue 2 brought in $17,000.
Yeah,
how did that feel that you made more than double on campaign 2? And this is what I mean by saying, like, some people, I have seen the opposite happen where they gain fewer backers or not quite the same total, and it just sort of goes down. But that's meteoric, man. Like, you doubled your totals.
Yes.
And you're already almost to the full funding on what you had on issue 1, 8,600. You've got 77,000 something on Perfect 10 number 3 right now, and you're 8 days in?
7,000.
7,000. 870.
870.
You're almost to $8,000, which is what you had on issue 1, and you're 8 days in.
Yeah.
You're 22
it's
days left
crazy.
on the first 30. Are you going to do a second 30? Maybe. You don't have to tell us if you want to keep like the big,
Well, maybe we do a second 30, but we will go. We will go in demand regardless.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can still produce the book, give people. We want as many people as possible to get this book before we start the next campaign. So yeah, but yeah, it's really.
We're gonna have Leandro has a quick question. I will answer that real quick before we continue. He says, "Does Give Me Everything have issue 1's first printing?"
No, it has the second printing version because the first one is becoming very rare. But the first one you can add.
Notice.
I know it says everything. I know, so it should be there. But the problem is there's a limited number left. So yeah.
You didn't have enough to put it on the main campaign. So, but you can add it on. Is that what you
can add it on? Yes.
Okay, so it's there as an add-on.
Leandro, the Give Me Everything will definitely give you everything though, and personally, I thought it was worth it the first time around to really get a sense of what genuine comics is all about. If you're a Dave Brink fan, if you want to read, if you've read Perfect 10 issue 2, and you were like, hot damn, that was good, then checking out his other work is probably something you're going to want to do. I'm going to say Perfect 10 issue 2 was very, very strong. Not everyone's writing is always as strong as their most recent book, but Dave is a solid writer in all regards, consistent and solid in all regards. None of these stories felt lacking or insignificant. Like I say, there are a lot of books I have that I don't talk about. But Genuine Comics is definitely one of those studios that I feel has a lot to offer. Honestly, if he had a more, I guess like a bigger production line and was better funded, he could probably pull off something like what Iconics got going if he had a bigger readership. Because Perfect 10 definitely has an art style that can get up there to probably rival some of the stuff that's in Common America. Two very different books. Common America's it's fun and light and bright and funny and stuff, and your comic villains are definitely fun, but they're also so 90s. I remember there was a character in the 90s. She had 4 arms, and that was like her superpower. She had 4 arms. And there was an issue of something, and she had like 2 shotguns or something under her clothes.
She was called Foreplay. Really
and she pretended to be pregnant in this one issue, and then she tore out with like shotguns and killed everybody. I was like, that is so cool. How you make just 4 arms. You can do a lot with anything if you're creative. Mo says regular exercise. They just have to push them out to see the one time when they've been called for Operation Blubber Barrage. Greg. So he's talking about Baby Seal, Navy Seal.
No, so the chat has been talking about the using your fat as a superpower. And so that's where that comes from.
Dude, it's hilarious. I don't know if you guys have read Perfect 10 issue 2. It's hilarious. And all of the villains. I mean, like I could go through them right now. You've got the blubber chick, right?
Using sumo tactics.
You've got the super strong guy. You got someone that shoots lightning. I'm not even going to say all the names and everything, but like you've got the super speedster. I think he's a hero. You got the chick that does the teleporting, right? She makes little portals and everything. Yep. So he's got a really good mix of characters. He's even got a character that impersonates other people and steals their powers. But she did a great thing in issue 2. She doesn't know how to use them the way that the original people who have the powers know how to use them. So like she steals the super speed and she goes running off, but she doesn't have the years of training that the guy does using his power. And I was like, that's so accurate. So often, like those tiny little details don't get seized upon by people who are writing these stories. Oh yeah, well, I could totally use your power. I just stole them. Yeah, but you don't know how. that you're not on equal footing. And I was like, thank you. When he just like knocks her down and he's like, yeah, you can't run the way I can. You haven't been running.
Plus, she can't copy colors.
Yeah,
she can't copy colors. That's pretty cool to me.
Leandro says, oh, dude, Greg Levine, very sad on the refund, but excited for your next attempt. Please don't quit putting out Gun Demon. I didn't know that.
What
Greg
happened
refunded
with
people.
Gun Demon?
What happened?
Did it not
fund?
fun?
I'm gonna look that up right now.
I thought it was still going on.
Yeah, I thought it was still going on
I
too.
didn't realize it
Maybe
ended.
he just
Did you
didn't.
just do 30?
Maybe he didn't think that that he could get the tail end backers. We're both
Has
doing
it
the
really
same
been
thing,
2
looking it up here.
months?
Only one of us needs to do this.
Well, you're the host, so,
So I should be talking to the guest. Is that what you're telling me?
That is exactly what I'm telling you.
Yeah. Oh, he's got 8 days left.
Oh,
He's got 8
okay,
days
then
left.
I don't know what's
34.56 out of the 10,000. So you're,
Okay.
a third of the way there. Yeah, that's tough to be going into the second half of the
Yeah.
campaign with only a third of the funding. But then again, remember what Dave said. He wasn't all the way there on Perfect 10 either.
That's
And then he got like fully funded in a week.
That's
So
right.
Anything
That's
is
right.
possible, right?
Yes.
Tough it out, bro. Tough it out.
You never know. Yeah, but also has
It's got 8 days. Yeah, it's got 8 days. So yeah, let's take a look at the campaign real quick because it's like 5 o'clock. We blew through our
Yeah,
hour,
we did.
man. I've been.
Yeah, we can watch the trailer.
Oh yeah, let's watch the trailer real quick, and then we'll talk about some of the tiers on the campaign.
Cool. Sounds good. Roll.
Sure.
Who am I supposed to trust when everyone sees me as a means to their ends? Where am I supposed to go when I don't exist? How do I know where I belong when I don't even know who I am? I have no real name. I'm just a number to them, a weapon, a pawn in a war I don't want to be involved in. Division M and the Prime Syndicate are two sides of the same coin. They exist because of each other. I exist because of them. I was supposed to be a solution, a way towards peace. But I'm just another problem, a liability, a mistake. I have more enemies than I can count. What am I supposed to do? I can't do this alone. I need friends.
Dude, I forgot about the dude who makes people like sick and has all the pathogens and
So
stuff.
apparently we scared Mo
With what?
with saying that Gun Demon was canceled.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought I was terrified also.
Yeah.
Sounds like someone who would call me a monkey. Yeah. Who did you get to do that narration, Dave?
Ooh, well, her name is Ellie Lauderdale, but people know her
Lauderdale?
around these parts as Ellie Sangui.
Alice
I said, like, I
Sangris.
thought it
Yeah, it was
Sangris.
Alice.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't
yeah.
know her.
Alice. It was Alice
actual real
Sangris. Yeah.
name.
Mo pulled that one out. His voice sounds like someone who would call me a monkey. Yeah, it does sound like that, right? Wait, is it still funding? My bad. I did back Gun Demon. I looked at my contributions when I saw a refund tag on it. What the? I don't know, Leandro. Go and arm
Well,
wrestle with Indiegogo.
Or ask.
We've had
Greg.
to do that before. Maybe Greg was like, Leandro. I don't want Leandro backing me. Nah, you don't know. Refund him.
Be gone.
I've heard. I heard that happens occasionally. People don't like you, so they refund your backing. Yeah, when they're being fresh. So we were going to look at the campaign real
Yeah,
quick.
I just refreshed.
They're at
127
79,
backers.
so $75 away from the big
Oh.
8K.
A new
Let's send out
backer.
a tweet about that so
Wow.
we can get you one more backer because the both covers plus crossover, €38. That's really affordable.
Yeah.
Also,
good
you
deal.
know, it's nice to have one copy to read, one copy to keep.
Also, I think you were saying that cover A was when I prefer cover B, so that works. So we often will like different covers, so it works out.
Okay,
when
dude, I
there's
like this cover better.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we like the same cover this time.
Well,
We
I like
usually the different
10
ones.
on the other cover. You know, the way
Yes.
she's because she got kidnapped at the end of the last one.
Yes.
And then I like whatever dude looks like Backlash, but also has like the cosmos
Yeah.
inside of him. That is a dope design, dude.
Yeah.
He's got
Oh,
that
thank you.
90s like you know face thing that all the
Hair
90s
thing.
characters had, like the face frame. And he looks like Backlash with the like, you know,
Yeah. So,
face covering.
and this is your feature tier, so you get both covers. You get Crossworld. And
the featured tier is
communicate.
all new stuff. So if people already backed the previous campaigns, they can just get the featured
Go in there
tier.
and swoop that up.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Stop gatekeeping me, Greg. That's great. So tell us a little bit about the Crossroads or Crossworlds, rather.
Crossworlds, yeah, Crossworlds happened.
This one's really exciting too because of the person that you're doing it with.
Too far down.
Oh, you know the person I'm doing this with?
Yeah, the guy from Antarctic Press, right?
Oh, right, yeah. The artist here is Andre Lille, and he's the one who came to me with this idea. He wanted to do a crossover between his character, Camilo Wallace, that's the guy, with 10, and so we had this little concept for a story, and I was like, okay, man, let's do this, and it will be published through Antarctic Press and also through Genuine Comics, and so 2 different formats. So Genuine Comics will have pinups with it also in the book.
So are you telling the story from 10's perspective and they're telling it from their perspective, or
no, it's
the
same
story?
It's the same story. Yeah, exactly the same.
Because I was considering doing something similar with a couple of different creators where I would create sort of a Crossworlds space, a sandbox, temporary sandbox for all of us to play in without muddying up each other's individual IP universes. Like, you got one universe that has superhero rules, like say the government, registers all the superheroes like they did in Civil War. So the government knows about everything. And then the other one, like superheroes are running rampant. No one knows who they are. They can't exist in like the same place, right? Mm-hmm. But they could in a third world if they get like sucked through a portal, like the Ninja High School story you were talking about earlier at the beginning. Right. So I was actually considering doing that. And then once we established like the general story guidelines, like the primary beats of what happens in the story map, being like, all right, tell it from your character's point of view. I'll tell it from my character's point of view. They'll tell it from their character's point of view. We have different dialogue, different perspectives, different takes on all of this. And when the characters aren't together, they have their own scenes. So you're getting like a 3-point perspective of one story taking place in an alternate reality that we create together for just the purposes of this crossover. Did that sound cool? Would you do something like that?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Sounds cool, man.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting to like tell a story, the same story from 3 different points of view and like interconnect them in ways.
You can also get a Crossworlds commission.
Ooh, yeah. That's the they'll draw one of the characters for you, or Pow will draw characters for you, right? That's Pow doing it, right?
Pow will be drawing these commissions, and they're in the theme of the Crossworlds book. So this means that you can pick any Genuine Verse character and have them meet any other character. It can be your own character or mainstream or whatever you want. And you can say, do you want them to fight, for instance, or fight together, whatever you want.
That's cool. And how much is
Mo is telling Greg to give Leandro a chance. Yes, Leandro's a nice guy, and Greg is doubting whether or not he should have Leandro as a backer because he's heard some not so great things about Leandro. But Mo says you can't judge a whole group of people based on the actions of Michael Bancroft, or in this case, he's probably talking about Rob. Yeah, he's probably talking about Robocopter with the Rob Hall, right? Yeah, I mean, we're not pegging this on Bancroft, right? Oh, did I just break the rule? Did I say Rob's name? Am I going to get timed out of my own show?
I think so. Do you need me to kick him, Mo?
Well, my legs are up now, so you can't actually kick me. Damn it!
It's almost the same.
Why are you so mean to me all the time?
But the Crossworlds commission is a really good deal because it's 175 euros or 193 US dollars. You get both covers of Perfect 10, you get Crossworlds, you get the art print, and the books are signed. And then you also get a commission from Pal Rodrigues, which is that's amazing.
Which is definitely worth it. Is it going to be in black and white?
Yeah, the commission is not colored. No, you get it just the inked version.
Very cool.
Greg says it's definitely Bancroft. He's shady, acting all nice and respectful and shit. I don't trust him. He's obviously a member of a hate group. I know.
No, we love Bancroft.
So, yeah, why not run this over on Kickstarter? You mentioned you did that a couple of campaigns ago. Perfect 10, 10 is a 10, she's gorgeous. She's lethal. Bad girls clean up on Kickstarter. Just ask Jamie Tyndall. Kickstarter, yes, on Kickstarter. Just ask Jamie Tyndall, ask Billy Tucci, ask Peter Palmiotti's brother. I don't remember his name.
Jimmy Palmiotti.
You ruined the joke.
I thought you really couldn't remember it.
That's true. That's fair. I don't remember anything. But that's the point, is that like bad girls really clean up on Kickstarter.
Right.
Would you ever consider running Perfect 10 over there?
I haven't really done that since I moved over. My first books were on Kickstarter, indeed, and then I had this little publisher who also did Kickstarter campaigns of Dream Girl and Ajax, and after that, I went away from the publisher. We kind of parted ways, and I wanted to rebrand. So. Start fresh, start strong, and during that period you had this weird thing going on with Kickstarter where they kind of banned creators for having the wrong politics or something. Was just strange, and I'm against censorship, so I was like, I'm with those creators, so I'm going to Indiegogo. And I launched Perfect 10 there, and I basically never looked back. So I have no plans to do something with Kickstarter again.
Right on, man. Like I appreciate where you're coming from, and I'm not trying to like get you to do it. It's just making the observation. Everyone should be comfortable crowdfunding where they want to crowdfund. If you want to do both, do both. If you want to do Indiegogo alone, do Indiegogo alone. If you're only doing Kickstarter, I am going to encourage you to go to Indiegogo though, because Indiegogo has in demand. Yep. So if you've successfully funded over there, I'm going to suggest you port the campaign over in demand on Indiegogo and let people who won't back you on Kickstarter have a chance to back you on Indiegogo. Because honestly, I think IGG is where it's the place to be for, crowdfunding comic books. The group of people out there, the fans on Indiegogo, man, that's what it's all about. They're real fans. Just like Leandro said, you can really talk to the creators on Indiegogo, and they'll legitimately tell you not to buy their books, unlike people in industry comics.
I feel like Kickstarter has become kind of more where mainstream or famous people go with their books. Not that there are small creators. There are obviously small creators on Kickstarter, and they get their books funded.
Everyone's a small creator on Kickstarter. They barely clear 10 grand.
But like, I feel like on Indiegogo, people will give you more of a chance as an unknown than they do on Kickstarter. That's just my personal.
It's also tough because you only get half the time.
Right.
Like if you got
you can do.
Oh, you can do 60 days on Kickstarter now?
On Kickstarter now. Huh. You just can't adjust the time. Whatever time you put in is what it is. Whereas with Indiegogo,
we did 30 because it's like, I don't want to do it.
We already did a 60-day Indiegogo campaign, and we were not going to do another 60 days on Kickstarter. I would not have survived that. Thank you.
Although it is reflected in the numbers of the orders that we got. We were tallying up all of the total numbers of books with the different variant covers that we have to order from the publisher, and the order of Kickstarter covers is significantly less than the number of Indiegogo covers that we have. So looking at the campaign, there's the commission tier. There is the
feature tier where you get all the new books. There's the catch-up tier. For anyone who is new to Perfect 10,
you get all 3
issues. I highly encourage you, if you are new, go pick up the catch-up tier. Perfect 10 is a fantastic
perfectly series. I wouldn't do that.
It is.
I would not do what,
you would not do that. You would do.
I'm a different shopper. I'm a smart shopper. I would get both covers plus Crossworlds.
If you're brand new to
it. And then I would go and I would buy the original. The very first one that you can't get on the Give Me Everything tier.
Then you're missing number 2.
That's why I would go get the Everything tier.
So, or you could just get the Everything tier, which includes number 3.
Well, why would I want to do that? I don't.
And it also
do you get
includes
do you get
Crossworlds.
Crossworlds?
Yes,
Okay.
you.
So you know what?
get
Don't do that.
everything except
Don't do
the
that.
first printing.
Just get the one the give me everything tier and the first printing, because honestly,
Secret
like
needs to look up what the word
like,
everything means
you-
for Neff.
I know what everything means. It means almost all that I want, right? It means everything that is almost everything I want. No,
Amanda B.
Hey,
Listening
Amanda.
on the way
Amanda.
home, drive safely. We love you.
No, like what I was gonna say is it's a 4-issue series. You said that several times now. We're going to issue 3.
Yeah.
You want the first printing, because when this becomes when this becomes a trade paperback that's going to go out there, you already heard my boy Dave. He has been doing stuff with Antarctic Press. It is quite possible that Perfect 10 as a trade paperback or even individual issues winds up getting into stores. The original first printing of Perfect 10, signed by Dave Brink, might I add, is going to be worth something someday. And at the very least, beyond it being a collector's item that'll be worth something, it is going to be the nostalgic, I was there at the beginning piece. So you owe it to yourself to give yourself the opportunity. This is probably going to be the last time you're going to get the opportunity to get, a number 1 like this, right?
Yeah,
I don't think there'll be enough left on issue 4.
After this campaign, they will be all sold out.
That's what I'm saying, man. This is it. You should put that up in big bold letters. This is it. Your last chance.
Amanda B says, Freq Girl isn't wrong.
No, she is
It's
not.
a great book.
She is not wrong. Well,
thanks, Amanda.
I mean, she's wrong about buying what tier to buy, but it is a great book. We're all very happy with Perfect 10, and I'm really excited for American Bliss, and I'm happy for Crossworlds, seeing that stuff. I'm really glad that you're expanding the universe more, and I really like the idea that you're putting 2 books on one campaign, 2 different properties. I'm going to explore something very similar myself. We're not going to talk about me. So what is the best part of making comics?
The best part is just going nuts, man. Just making whatever you can think of. You have no restrictions regarding your imagination, what you can do. That's the best thing, and finding this great team to work with, and you work well together, and you see people like what you produce. That's all amazing. That's all amazing.
Real quick, Leandro wants to know: is this going to go another 30? I think we covered that earlier, right?
Maybe.
Maybe.
But
we're
it'll be in demand either
We're going to have a closeout stream, and we might go another 30, but it'll be in demand regardless.
Question: is there anything that's going to come off the campaign when it goes in demand?
That's a good question.
Or will everything be available?
I think there will be stretch goals. I will have to calculate how many stretch goal items I have to produce for the backers. So there is a limit. So once the campaign ends, I have to produce the books, so people get the books. So I have to ship the books out along with the stretch goals. So there is a limited amount of stretch goals based on the amount of backers.
Magnet's adorable.
Amanda,
it's a chibi magnet. It's a chibi magnet. I mean, he did the chibi stickers the first time, right? And he did the other stuff. I mean, I got the
René Bergmans. He also did the stickers the last time.
Yep.
I think the magnet's adorable. So are you going to order a bunch of backstock so that you can sell Perfect 3 as part of a catch-up tier on issue 4, or maybe at, I don't know, conventions or go to stores with it? Do you have any plans on going to
I always do. I print far more than the amount of backers we get, because indeed I have my web store, I visit conventions, and of course there will be a campaign for issue 4, and I want people to
be able to do a catch up
to get the previous issues, right? Yeah.
That's awesome. So, do you have any advice for fledgling creators out there trying to get into comic book crowdfunding?
Advice: be patient. So you won't have success immediately. Maybe you see people succeed, but for every success, there are many failures that you don't see. And so be patient and engage with the community and have the passion, and then slowly you will get where you want to be.
That's great and encouraging advice. Is there anything else you want to tell people out there besides back Perfect 10, obviously, before we get out of here? Anything we haven't talked about?
I just want to tell people that I love you all. The support is just great. I'm so excited that people love what I do, what I make for people. I make it for you guys because you seem to like it, and we're doing our very best to make the very best book that we can produce. So I'm doing my best writing, Pau doing his best artwork. Our shipment costs are as low as possible because we work together with Critical Blast. So if you're in America, I can ship it to you for, I think, $15. So that's we're doing our very best to make the best product for you guys. So thank you all.
I think that's great. And thank you so much for coming on the show, Dave. We are super excited to get our own copy of Perfect 10 #3. You know, we backed it. We own your library. I encourage everyone out there to get this book. It's worth it. Dave's a great guy. He's making great stuff. Genuine Comics certainly has track record and reputation for fulfillment and quality, so you can back with confidence. Anyway, that's going to be it for us tonight, guys, or today.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in, hanging out with us, and enjoying this conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click that bell for notifications,
and tune into the frequency.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.